You know, and we all have our 15 minutes of fame, and I'd like to take a couple of my 15 minutes to talk about the rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
WWE Championship.
This match is for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. The World Heavyweight Championship. The match and new NWA Heavyweight Champion.
We appreciate you guys coming out and taking your time to support women's wrestling in America.
This match is for the AWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship.
Monday night, 11 o'clock, and this is your host, Mr. Green, and if you just heard the listing of all the championships in wrestling history, then you know it is time for the rights and the wrongs of pro wrestling. My guest sitting on the line waiting for me to bring her in is none other than
Make me over.
the definition of technician herself, Miss Cindy Rogers, is joining me on the show. I'm rolling out the red carpet with one of her theme music. This is the one that I could find anyway. So we're going to open up the mic. Miss Rogers.
Hey, how you doing?
There we go. How are you?
Not too bad. Yeah, that is my theme song, man.
All right. Yeah, you know, I'm trying to give you the royal treatment here and, you know, roll out the red carpet, the proverbial red carpet, if you will. You know,
I appreciate it.
Well, hey, you know, this is my house, and you know, you're a guest, and you treat your guests well.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed that. How are you this evening?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
You sound pretty perky.
Hey, I'm trying for 11 at night.
You know, and I really appreciate you. Being willing to do that. And, you know, one thing I find as I talk to more of you is that you sound a lot different when you're not in front of the camera.
Well, yeah, this is true. A little bit more relaxed, you know.
You know, from the promo, I had gone and looked for promos for you and everything else. And, you know, for the times that I've seen you, I guess you were more amped up and you were doing more stuff. You know, you had more things going on. Opposed to, you know, what we have right now.
Hey, yeah, that's right, you know, because I'm, you know, chilled at my house and stuff, but, you know, there, I am the definition of technician, the new age of excellence. See, but
hey. Okay. You know, I did not know that you added on a little extra to that. You know, you got the
a little bit.
All right.
Actually, someone actually gave that to me, oh gosh, maybe a little less than a year ago. They're like, you should call yourself the new age of excellence. I'm like, all right.
And you just decide to roll with it.
Absolutely. I mean, it was funny they gave it to me because, I'm, since a little kid, such a huge Bret Hart fan and, you know, had the opportunity to meet him a few times and, you know, and get some advice. And so very much kind of modeled my training after him. So they're like, that's it. They're like, you know, the excellence of execution. You're the new age of excellence. I'm like, all right, I'm good with that.
That's nice. I like it. And it serves you well to go with that one.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, seeing that you've given me the opening, let's start with that. You've followed Bret Hart since you was a kid, so let's just go back to, you know, what made you decide that this is what you wanted to do to begin with.
Well, yeah, I mean, growing up, you know, my brothers, they started watching it first. I have two older brothers, and so I watched it with them, and then they stopped watching. I continued watching, and I started watching it was just before Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik, so it was a little bit before that when I first started watching, and
okay.
Just enjoyed it, you know, all through the years. And then when I got older, I started learning about, you know, wrestling schools that were out there, and you know, I did my homework to find, you know, a really good, reputable school. And, I went to certain events that were kind of in the area where, certain legends were going to be there. And so I figured, who better to get the best advice from where to train, but from, veterans. And so I talked to, there was a show, Hacksaw Jim Duggan was there, Jerry the King Waller, Sergeant Slaughter, and, I talked to them, and they all pointed me in the direction of Larry Sharp's Monster Factory in New Jersey. And best decision I ever made. It's just a great school, and they turned out a lot of great people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a free plug for them. so hopefully as the archives roll on, some people will be able to hear that and decide to follow your footsteps and going up to a pretty good school. I can't even say pretty good, great school, as you just said.
Yeah, one of the guys who, if they want a visual of, one of the most recent people to make it from the school is Sheamus.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the current reigning WWE champion is a graduate of that school.
Yes, indeed.
I guess it gets no better than that.
Yep.
Very, very good. Now you just said that you started watching back with Hogan and the Sheik, so you was watching around my time I was looking at it, basically.
Absolutely.
Now here's the question I like to ask some people every once in a while. Mm-hmm. Can you trace the match that, or the angle or program or whatever, that actually made you say, hey, this is something I want to do? Hard question, right? That's why I like to throw it out there.
I can't really say what match. I before, I liked Bret, and my favorite was actually the Junkyard Dog. And so I enjoyed watching him. And then, my brother, one of them, is only 1 year older than I am. So, of course, we weren't following that don't try this at home kind of thing. So,
well, they didn't have those promos back in that day.
No, not at all.
When I was growing up, they didn't believe in telling me that.
No. So, we used to have these big old brawls, in the living room and outside and stuff. And, and so I enjoyed it then, So it was more with that. And I'm like, I could do this, And, but I can't really pinpoint a match, really, that.
Well, then my streak continues because, that question stumps almost everybody. So don't feel bad. I'm just waiting on somebody to block me like, yeah, I remember that match. It was so-and-so and this and that, But no one's ever been able to answer that yet, so don't feel bad. But being that you have a, Hitman background, I'm almost positive that your favorite match or most impressive match is, probably has something to do with Bret Hart in it.
Oh, definitely.
Is that a pretty fair statement?
Well, see, he had a lot of great ones, but I will share this with you.
Okay.
I have one that, people ask me all the time, because, I do a lot of studying of matches and stuff, when in training and this, that, and the other. And I always have, like new trainees or, all new people always asking me, what should I watch? What would be really, good to help me? And I always tell them the Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It's a great technical match, and so I will list that as one of my top matches. And it's just such a great training tool, too, for anybody new out there.
Okay. Fantastic. See, but and then I made a good call. It was included within the Bret Hart lineage, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And before I jump back on you, I'm going to ask one other question, one other stumper.
Sure.
Give me your favorite non-Bret Hart match. Yes.
Well, let's see. Non-Bret Hart match.
Well, I'm sorry, son. I like to, come up with some good questions when I can. So, for you, I specifically created this.
Well, let's see. See, my thing is like, as far as, I don't really have particular favorite matches, because I like to watch different people and take different things from different matches. You know, like, you know, not necessarily like stealing a move or anything like that, but, you know, just gaining certain knowledge out of watching and going, oh, okay, that's cool that how they did that, or that's cool, you know, to give me ideas to feed off of. And, but like Ted DiBiase, you know, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, I should say.
Yeah, that's right. We have to specify now.
And like, you know, the great Rick Martel, and you know, and just, that's more of the generation. I don't get me wrong, I love watching, you know, the guys of today, but I just feed so much off of the old schoolers and what they did. So, you know, and you know, William Regal and, you know, all those guys. So even though you see Regal today, but I just, you know, love his old work.
Oh, yeah. Regal was a phenomenal wrestler. I enjoyed him in WCW, and I know it's, you know, I'm not supposed to say his name, but on the Chris Benoit DVD, he had a fantastic match. So, yeah, I would tend to agree.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that may be listening on the live stream right now, this is Mr. Green on the line with the definition of technician, Cindy Rogers, is joining me to discuss herself. And, you know, we started off talking a little bit about what you like. So now we're going to kind of bleed back over into your personal background. Mm-hmm. You are a veteran at this right now, correct?
Yeah, 9 years. Mm-hmm.
9-year veteran.
Mm-hmm.
And your forte, as has been clearly displayed amongst the masses, is that you are a technical wrestler.
Yes, absolutely.
Although it has been written about you that you are capable of engaging in a brawl, should that, you know, be the case. I think, what did they note that for? A dog collar match with you and... Help me out here.
Danger? Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. How was that experience? Because that seems like it goes against the grain of what you do normally.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know when she presented me with that challenge, I'm like, all right, well, you know, like, okay, yeah, it's not really my forte, but I'm like, all right, you know, I'm not one to, you know, to back down from any sort of challenge. So I'm like, all right, if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. So, you know, she wanted to go hardcore. I went with it.
Okay.
But it was an interesting match.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the one thing I remember is with that match, the chain was really long and it was really heavy. So it was a little hard to maneuver in. I mean, not to say that it would be comfortable anyway, but you know, I do remember coming up victorious on that. So.
Oh, okay. Well, so you can work it both ways, and apparently a brawl, when incited to do so, you can make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
And honestly, I had another match that was similar to that. Not, maybe a year before that. It was a strap match versus Alicia. And we had that at the WXW.
Now, Alicia isn't she, or wasn't she, I should say, also a tag team partner with you?
Yes. Yep, the big unit.
the big unit. So recap this strap match. I guess first off, what brought that on? Because it, you know, I think I followed it up until y'all went against each other in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So what promoted the strap match, if you don't mind engaging us a bit?
Well, what happened was we went into one of WXW's tournaments, one of their Elite 8 tournaments, and we got down to the main event. It was myself versus Alicia, and so she decided that, you know, of course, you know, it was every woman for herself and kind of thing, and you know, we had that understanding going into it, but in the end, she decided she needed to cheat to win against me, you know. So So, you know, I didn't really look too kindly upon that, you know, once I found out, because I didn't really know until I saw the footage later, you know, at the end, you know, and saw that she had to cheat and, you know, kind of stab me in the back kind of deal. So it was just kind of, you know, with that, and it just led right up into that match.
All right.
Well, we've made up since then. It's all good.
Is the big unit back together?
No, not back together. But actually, you know, it would be great. You know, I wouldn't mind teaming back up with Alicia. We had a lot of fun together, and obviously a lot of wins together too.
Apparently, you were tag team champion. Yeah.
Yep. Oh.
And it's very fortunate for me that you gave that particular story, because I guess the promo that I found for you was based right out of that time frame. So indulge me just a moment.
Sure.
Alicia and I have already discussed if this would happen to happen. Unfortunately, it has. So we both know if we gain one person, we are a tag champion. We will be the tag champions for a very long time. But tonight, we both know what it is. What is it?
If you want a real champion, you got to get Rogers to fit the bill.
The rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
All right. I had to toss that little stuff on there now. Sorry.
Hey, it's all cool, man.
You know, that was a little bit of Nature Boy Buddy Rogers on there. I just happened to share the same last name, so, you know, it just worked out good.
Hey, I don't mind. He was awesome.
That's right. If you want a champion, you got to get Rogers to fit the bill. There you go.
Right. I like the way you think.
Well, hey, like I said, I'm trying, Cindy. I'm trying. I do my best.
You're all right, my book, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I want to ask you a question. Recently, I guess within the last 2 years, Pro Wrestling Illustrated has begun to acknowledge the women in their version of the PWI 500. I guess for the women, it's the PWI 50. And in 2008, you ranked in 33, one of the top 50 women in the world. Very big accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I mean, I was very honored to be in it. And I know last year when they had that magazine out, I had been contacted, you know, that I was going to be included in it. And in the end, they removed my name for inactivity, which I totally understood. But, I mean, it was kind of cool that they were still going to, you know, accept me in. But I had been out on a major injury, and so I wasn't. So they had to remove me. So, which sucked. But again, it was cool that, you know, initially they wanted to still include me. But I had not this summer, but past summer, I had broke my collarbone, and it wasn't even wrestling that I did it. So I was actually just playing softball. You know, I was just out having fun and, you know, playing a game, and I ended up breaking my collarbone. And then about a week later, I had gotten a blood clot in my arm from it. So it was tough because I wasn't able to move that arm for a while. I mean, not just because of the break, but, you know, with the blood clot being in my arm, unfortunately, if I had moved it the wrong way, it would have killed me. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to move it, you know. So yeah, so they would just like, be very careful, because if you move it, it's going to go where you don't want it to. I'm like, all right, thanks for scaring me, but that's good. But you know, thankfully, you know, that went away, and I started training to come back into wrestling when I was you know, cleared to go back to the gym and everything. And unfortunately, I had come back for one match that March, and on my way to the gym, I got rear-ended, and it messed up 2 vertebrae in my neck. So they're still, you know, I was treated for it, but they're still not the same. So it's pretty much a permanent injury. So when I came back, unfortunately, you know, I just had to work around it.
So have you modified your style any to, I guess, you know, for lack of a better term, complement the injury?
A little bit. I mean, luckily, you know, I wasn't, you know, I didn't really do any high flying or, you know, anything like that. So that was one good thing, that being a technician and doing submissions and whatnot to keep people grounded kind of keeps me off of that for the most part. So.
I had the opportunity to, I think I caught one of your matches on YouTube with you and Mercedes. Also another match with you and Allison Danger, I think first round in that particular Elite 8, which I thought was a, you know, pretty good match. TCB.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that come from? Taking
well,
care of business for those that don't know. Her finisher.
Yes. Yep, it's my submission finisher. I don't know, I was trained at the Monster Factory, and you know, I was trying to come up with a good finisher that, you know, I thought was pretty cool. And one of the guys who was there, he was like, well, why don't you try something like this, you know? And I tried, like, it's a variation of what he showed me, and you know, I'm like, all right, well, let me try that, but let me add this to it, and, you know, made a nice little lock in there. So, and basically what it is I just wrapped my legs around your waist, kind of cutting off your air and whatnot, and kind of keeps your legs away from me, too. And then it's a chicken wing, and then just like a, kind of like a cross choke kind of thing.
How do you come up with all this, though? You got a lot of different variations on other moves, leg locks, that particular hold. Which, when I first saw it, I was like, what is that? Like a dragon sleeper with a chicken wing / body scissors?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I mean, which seems fairly impossible to break out of, but, I mean, you know, if anybody's figured it out so far, then, you know, I'm not gonna spoil the aura of invincibility to the move.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's only the actual move when I've locked it in completely. Now, it hasn't been broken, but Mercedes Martinez has kind of gotten out of it before I had it fully locked in, so I got to give her props on that.
Well, she was smart enough to decide to escape it before it was fully locked in.
Yep. I've had her in it before, so she's smart. So she's like, I'm getting out of that before you get that lock.
So I would imagine that would be the intelligent thing to do. And speaking of that, I would imagine she's also a pretty tough opponent for you.
Yeah. I will fully admit that, Mercedes is my favorite opponent. We've worked each other for a long, long time. I've known her for many years, and my opinion, I think she's basically one of the best that's out there. And, you know, she gets all the credit, you know, she deserves it, and she deserves much more, honestly. She, in my opinion, why the fact that she's not on TNA or WWE is beyond me. She's one of the most talented women to ever be in the sport.
I asked her that myself, but you know, I guess there were other circumstances in there that may have prevented that. But you know, we'll move on. I guess you can always recap that in the archives. But
it'll be a shoot interview. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I should get you both on here so y'all can shoot it. You know, y'all can go down the line about, you know, politics. No, let me not instigate anything here. But now that you bring that up, that brings in mind goals. Does Cindy Rogers have any additional goals that you feel like, hey, you know, I want to hit this before I retire, before I move on to the next stage of life, or you just pretty much take it as it goes?
At this point, you know, I take it as it goes. You know, my goal for years was, WWE, because, that's where it's at, that's, and watching it growing up, that was the dream. But unfortunately in, the last, 10 years or so, the direction they've taken with women's wrestling, it's not fair to a lot of the, legitimate wrestlers out there that they're going for these, sports models and this, that, and the other and training them and, having them pass as wrestlers and, with a few legitimate ones kind of squeaking through, and because there's a couple of girls that are on there now that, that I know and I've worked with, and I'm so proud that they are there. It's just, it's just disappointing with, a lot of the greats, the past, paving the way for all these girls to kind of be like, now it's kind of slapping them in the face, like, Moolah and Mae Young and, and all the Sherry Martel, all of them, and really putting a name to women's wrestling. And, now it's just like, okay, they're divas,
Well, you brought up something interesting when you just said that. In fact, during the interview with Mercedes, part of what she said was she had a little bit of concern that had she gone, she would have been watered down. Like in order for her to do what she's doing, you agree? If Cindy Rogers appeared in WWE tomorrow, that you wouldn't be the same Cindy Rogers that is, currently wrestling.
Probably not. They just the way that they do their matches and the way they pace them for TV and whatnot. But no, it's just like, a couple of the girls that, like Beth Phoenix, who are up there right now, they did some good stuff with her, but she's definitely, I would say, a bit of a watered down version of what she was on the indies, because I've been her tag partner. I've been, across the ring from her, and she's so awesome, and she's not getting to do everything that she has done. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's doing a great job up there, but it's a shame that they don't do more with her. And the other one would be Serena, who also is trained wrestler for years, and she's just kind of like valeting, last I saw. So.
Is that the young lady that shaved her head?
Mhm. Yep.
Okay.
Because I had the pleasure of working with her at Shimmer, and she had some great matches up there at Shimmer, and and like I said, she trained for years. She was down there, in their developmental training for a long time, and it's great that she's on TV, but they're not showcasing her for her true talent. Which is
okay. Yeah, I guess so. It is. That is the downslide of it. Your personal best. What would you consider in the history of your matches? If you could, go into the middle Rolodex and say, this was the best match that I ever had, or close to it.
Close to it. I would have to say probably just almost any of them with Mercedes. I had a lot of fun. They were so challenging, and she's also a great technical wrestler, so it was great to go toe-to-toe with her. And there was another match that I really, really loved that I had with Allison Danger at Shimmer, and we did a 2 out of 3 falls match down in Florida, and that's one of my top ones as well.
Okay. Dream matches. Is there anybody on the list that you're like, I've got to wrestle them before it's all said and done? I need to be in the ring with this person.
Well, my dream matches are, I would have loved to have worked with Ivory or Molly or Jazz, any of them. Those would definitely be dream matches. And I almost had one versus Ivory several years ago, but due to politics, I wasn't able to do it, which was a shame. But I got to talk to Ivory not too long after that happened, and we had talked about it, and so we teased. We're like, yeah, one day down the road we'll get it.
One day.
Someday.
Just hasn't happened yet.
No, but one cool thing, like with Jazz, I did get to work with her as my tag team partner for for a couple of shows when Cyberspace was running in New Jersey. And in fact, actually on YouTube, you'll see there's a promo that we did with Barbie dolls.
I did see that promo. You basically ripped the heads off of the things.
Yep.
Slammed them into lockers and everything else like that, which is going to lead into the next set of questions. That I guess in the storyline there, it was kind of a hatred to the Divas and the whole TNA, not the company, but TNA being used in the course of wrestling, or women's wrestling, I should say. And I guess that was the basis of the promos, that you two were legitimate working wrestlers and your opponents were perceived as something else.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Is that a little twist of reality tossed in there, or is that just strictly storyline?
That was strictly storyline. Because those two, April Hunter and Tracy Brooks, they are definitely not just TNA. Not at all. They are actually great, legitimate workers, and so I got to work with them several times, and it was a pleasure each time. And Tracy, her and I actually, we had been tag partners a few times, especially like when I was first, going away from just my training school and doing matches for them. But when I first started branching out, when I went to WXW, that was the first thing that I did. I was Tracy's tag partner, so it was a lot of fun. I called her Fuzzy Boots because she wears the furry boots you see at TNA. So anytime I would have someone say hello to her for me, so she knew it was from me, I said say hi to Fuzzy Boots, and so she always knew it was from me.
Fuzzy Boots. All right. Yep. Well, hold that thought. I have to get my little breaks in here and reset the interview for anyone that is listening to the live stream. It is Cindy Rogers and Mr. Green. And hang on just for a second, Miss Rogers.
Sure.
Let me play these, and I'll be right back. And as soon as we come back, I want you to tell me if you remember where this is from.
Elite Eight. And I know all about the Elite Eight because last year I got screwed. Chrissy Vane, legs up in the ropes. Not this year. Tonight, my first round is Allison Danger. Well, let me tell you something. You be tapping right out because I'm working my way up the ranks to that trophy. You know what? I got some great advice from the best there is, and I'm going to utilize all that knowledge tonight. I will be walking away with that trophy.
Hey, everyone. It's Miss Popular herself, December. My favorite thing to do is talk about myself. My second favorite thing to do is listen to the rights and wrongs of professional wrestling with Mr. Green. So don't be a loser and check it out right now.
This is Mr. Green, and you're listening to The Show. The rights and the wrongs in the world of professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling as it was meant to be. Ass kicking, take no names, beat the hell out of whoever's in front of you.
All right. Had to squeeze those quick promos in there. And back on the line with Miss Cindy Rogers. We are talking, well, actually we're talking pretty randomly right now, but in the midst of that, we're talking about some of her dream matches, favorite opponents, career highlights, so on and so forth. So now, I'm going to go back into that whole storyline, divas versus talent, if you will. I think you were part of something else like that. Now, not that particular promo that's on YouTube. And make sure I get my facts right. I believe it was a tournament where there was a set of teams, divas versus athletes. I could be saying it wrong. Step in and correct me if I'm messing up something there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that basically the idea that took place?
I'm trying to think. Which?
I want to say it was WXW that
mm-hmm.
happened in, and either you were representing the team of legitimate workers going against somebody else representing a team of divas, and it seemed like that storyline had been, had come around quite a bit, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I was wanting to know, is that something, I don't want to say animosity, I want to get the right term here, because I don't want to make it sound like anybody is mad at the WWE for what they're doing, but I guess it goes against what is acceptable on the indies. Does that sound correct?
Well,
I mean, as far as fans are concerned, let's try from that point. As far as the fan base is concerned, would you say that you could take a WWE diva and stick them into a indie ring and have them do what they do on television and still get over?
Well, only for like name recognition, yes. They
okay.
definitely would be. But the thing is, like with the WWE, it's not so much, to me, each has their place,
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think variety is good, where, you have, your divas and you have your, female, your workers. And like I said, there's a place for it all, and I just think variety is good, and I have a lot of fans who do come up to me during shows, and they are upset with the direction that they've taken, because it's almost like it's too much, and they're like, they tell me all the time that they don't want their intelligence like bashed. It's like, wait a minute, it's like, okay, these girls they're flipping around, they're doing whatever, and it's all the short outfits and this, that, and the other. But when they see us wrestle, like, they just love it so much more, because they're like, we're actually seeing you guys wrestle, women actually wrestling, and they love it, and it's just a shame that they don't give more of a variety like they used to. When they had the Molly Hollies, and they had, the Ivory, and then and Lita, and and Trish Stratus, which I give props for. That she was great. She started out as a valet, and she worked herself into a nice little worker. So, variety is good. It's like I said, there is a place for it all. So definitely not bashing. Like divas. It's just they just need more variety.
Okay. That's fair enough. You've been very fair this entire interview, and I think that's very kind of you to do so. So now let's start with this. I want to get into personal dream matches for Cindy Rogers. Do you think you could have had a reasonable match with Trish Stratus? Now that you bring up her name.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would have tied her in a press.
Just like that. No trouble whatsoever. You'd have just tied her in the knot and you'd have been done.
Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go next. Have you worked Cheerleader Melissa?
No. Mm-mm. No, I have not.
Would you like to?
Sure. Yeah, no, I've known her for a while too, just meeting her through Shimmer and stuff, and yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, that's another personal one. I was like, I think now that's one of the things that I'd pay money. I would come and pay money to see Rogers and Melissa go at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it would be cool. Yeah, no, she's great.
I think that I don't, certainly don't want to insult your technical ability, but Think she may be able to match you hold for hold? You think she could do that with you?
What's that?
I said, I don't want to insult your technical ability, but do you think that she could match you hold for hold?
She might. She might be able to. You know, I know that, she's more of a strong style wrestler. So.
Okay.
Kind of have to duck and weave, So
you would just have to force her into what you want.
Exactly.
Okay, there we go. All right. Del Rey, Sarah Del Rey.
Yes, I've worked with Sarah.
Okay.
I've had singles matches against her. Actually, when Shimmer did their tournament to crown the first ever women's champion, I actually wrestled in one of her rounds.
Okay.
And then she's been my tag partner as well.
You've had a lot of tag team partners, then.
I know. It's so funny though, because I do mostly singles, and then just for different shows, they're like, all right, we want you guys to tag. So I mean, which is great because I get to be in the ring, with people more so than I would. But this is awesome. But yeah, we had fun. Actually, the last time we tagged was it was a couple of years ago in Philadelphia. So at the old ECW arena. So it was fun.
Oh, okay.
We worked Amy Lee and Mercedes Martinez there.
I'm sure that was interesting.
Yep.
Now, how many championship partners have you had currently? We know that you've had Alicia.
Yeah, Jana and I are the actual current WSU tag team champions.
Okay.
And ironically, we were the WXW women's tag team champions. We won. It was a women's tournament that they had like a couple of years ago, and we won the titles, and they never had us defend them. So technically, we're still the WXW women's champions too.
Oh, all right. So you just you have a title that is running, I guess, that sounds like they more or less forgot about, and you also have another title in another federation with the same lady. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, two different feds, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Very good. Now here's the big dream matchup for Cindy Rogers in my eyes, anyway.
Mhm.
Natalie Neidhart.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think your storyline would speak for itself just in that.
Oh yeah, no, that would be an awesome match. I would love to do it. I've got to meet her a few times when we were at Shimmer. When she was still there at the same time, and but yeah, she's awesome. Great girl, awesome wrestler. So yeah, no, I would love to do that.
Now, see, if they could manage to get a Neidhart and her corner and Bret Hart and yours, man, that would make it all the better.
Yeah.
Now somebody steals my story.
I don't know. It is her uncle, so I don't know if he'd switch sides on that. But
well, you can do something to kind of push that along. Not necessarily have them switch sides per se, but Bret's a guy that, as far as wrestling was concerned, he would believe in a fair matchup. They could shake hands. The tag partners shake hands. I'll coach my daughter. I'll coach my protege, and we'll go in here and have ourselves a nice little matchup.
Yep. No, that would be awesome.
Now, again, I say if somebody turns around and like, hey, they present that storyline to you, I'm gonna just flip out. Like, man, they just robbed me of my story.
Hey,
but
if it comes true, that'll be, I'll be cool. I'll be like, hey, it was his idea. Is that where you heard it from?
Great. That's awesome, man.
I'll see your props. Don't worry, man.
Thank you.
No problem.
That is fantastic. Now, before you mentioned that you were contacted by PWI, you know, and you weren't, I guess, listed last year, the 2009 roster for inactivity. Did they? I don't want to say did they give you any indication of what it takes to get in it, but is there any known system of ranking that they use? Or is it just, you know, we like you and we're putting you in?
Well, you know, I know they do it on you know, like overall package kind of thing. My thing on it though is that, you know, where they have the WWE divas in there, like not the worker ones, but like just the ones who basically manage and valet and kind of stuff like that.
Oh, you mean, well, not to call names, but you mean the Kelly and so on and so forth. Nothing against her, mind you. I'm not, you know, I'm not insulting her. I'm just saying, you know, she's probably the example that most people would think of.
Yeah, you know, as far as like, you know, just, you know, workers, you know, but yeah, because the one I was in anyway, you know, I'm trying to remember. I didn't really look at the last year's too much to remember the full list, but I just remember the first one that, you know, there was a lot of that in there. So, you know, which, you know, they deserve their place. But, you know, I thought like maybe the ones that were actually, you know, workers belonged higher. But I think it's such a great list, and then it's awesome that they do it. You know, I'm just, you know, I love that magazine all the way around because it just highlights all the indie people and not just the main stars. And I think it's just definitely an awesome magazine. And I was just, again, so proud to be in that first year that they put that out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the same question I asked Mercedes was, do you? I guess is there some sense of pride that also goes along with the fact that you guys helped force the industry to recognize it? I know you had been working for quite some time before they actually produced a PWI 50 female or top 50 female.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, I just think, you know, it's great that they're ones that acknowledge, you know, the women, you know, and, you know, these different federations, too, now that, you know, have the women's shows like Shimmer and WSU who highlight, the women's wrestling, you know, to say, hey, look, there's a lot of great girls out there. Here they are, you know, where, you know, you go on to regular shows and you have usually, like, you know, one women's match, you know, sometimes, and which is awesome, you know, but to really, like, where all these legitimate women's feds are coming up to really showcase a lot more of the girls is very cool. And like I said, with, you know, PWI, you know, doing the same thing of highlighting all these great girls, and not just, you know, if they're in WWE or TNA, just getting all these great girls in the magazine and making people aware of them.
Okay.
We're not all fluff.
No, you're not. And I have a couple of DVDs here to prove it. Not all fluff at all. Where is Cindy Rogers' future, and where do you see the business of women's wrestling's future?
Well, let's see. Well, my future, I'm just at, you know, this point of going out, having fun, you know, entertaining everybody, entertaining myself, you know. But no, just, you know, going out and just having fun. That's where I'm at, you know, with it. That's my goal. Like I said, you know, it used to be a while ago, you know, WWE and whatnot. But right now it's just having fun and, you know, making people happy and, you know, doing what I do.
Fair enough. Do you have any outlook or insight on where you feel the industry, as far as the women, may be heading? I mean, I know you're not a fortune teller. I know you can't just predict the future, but, you know, any particular opinions or insight that you're like, hey, you know, I think in the next couple of years we may be this?
Well, with all the women's feds, like like I was saying, that are showcasing all these great girls, hopefully it'll push it forward, and wrestling in general is, for years, it's been up and down, of course, WWE, what it used to be WWF in the 80s, it took that huge surge, and, didn't really falter too much since then, but, which is great, but again, it's always been an up and down thing, and with this whole cycle of the divas and stuff, and, hopefully there's only so long that'll last, and, people will get fully tired of it, and, go back again and showcase all the, the great girls that are out there, that are, can entertain people just as well, and even more so. It's just given the chance.
No, I think that WWE has to be forced into doing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, my opinion. I think that the time, with the exception of the late 90s, with like say Molly Holly and Trish and Jazz and so on and so forth, I think now, unless somebody comes along and produces a better product, they're probably not going to, do what they did initially.
Yeah.
I think the knockouts kind of helped force them into, well, let's try to make some of these girls work, but I don't even think they're doing that anymore.
No. I mean, it was really cool with TNA, where they had all the the female great workers from the indies coming in and showing their stuff, and they still get to more so than WWE, but yeah. Unfortunately, I don't really watch too much of it to really tell you.
Shame on you.
I know. I never seem to catch it. I'm never home, really. So.
Oh no, terrible.
But yeah, the only one I usually catch is Monday Night Raw. So.
Well, then you must be pleased with the direction that the company is going, or something like that. I said, then you must be pleased in the direction that the company is going, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, well, I enjoy watching, Sheamus. Yeah, I'm just really proud of him.
Okay.
I want to say for the record that I have body slammed Sheamus. I have kicked his ass.
Well, that is an exclusive. That Sheamus was body slammed by Cindy Rogers. Which I'm sure at this point.
I did avoid, his razor's edge, so I'm just going to call it that. I avoided it.
Well, they will never, ever, ever acknowledge that thing as a razor's edge.
I know.
I don't know. What do they call it now? The Celtic cross, I think. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. They will never call it a razor's edge. That's what I love about WWE, the ability to rewrite history and avoid things if they don't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly. Like one name that, you brought up earlier, and even with everything that happened, I don't condone any of it, but to me, Chris Benoit is not a taboo name. As far as his career goes, I don't think he should be erased. I really don't. Like I said, it was horrible what happened, and I don't, I'm not condoning any of it, obviously. But I still do believe in a professional, wrestling standpoint that he shouldn't be erased. He was, a great, beyond great wrestler, and he's still one that I still study, And again, it was horrible what happened.
Oh yeah.
And I like I say, I don't condone any of it, but again, I'm just talking on a wrestling standpoint as far as Chris Benoit is concerned.
Oh yeah, you're not talking personally here.
Right.
Only what took place in the ring.
Right. His like I said, it shouldn't be erased. He was so great, and and he just it was that man's life, you know what I mean? And he gave so much to the sport, and changed so much, and and several people at the time before that careers he helped, and and people who looked up to him and modeled tried to model their career to be like him. He was just was the all-around package, and his place should not be erased. Or it just, because again, it is tough to separate the two, but it just, like I said, he just shouldn't be something where, it's not like he was never here. You know what I mean? It's just, wrestling.
Oh, yeah. I fully understand, and believe me, we've had this conversation here, and I've had it off air with some other people, and particularly with me because I'm in the Atlanta area, and I know we're going off of you personally, but since you brought it up, I'm in the Atlanta area, and when it went down here, it was a big deal, and in fact, I think it altered a lot of what they even want to do with wrestling in this area. They came up with a lot of rules and regulations just based off of that. Now, as far as his legacy being erased, I didn't agree with WWE 24/7 doing that necessarily. And for those that have WWE 24/7, if you watch it and you look at WCW Nitro or any other programs, he's been edited out. He's been removed from basically everything unless he's in a group shot. That's the only time you see Chris Benoit or hear his name is if he happens to be standing next to somebody who just cannot be removed from that show. Now I will say,
any best of DVDs, everything, they're gone.
Oh yeah, all of that's gone. Is gone. That's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing. I can't say that I don't understand where the company is coming from. I don't know if it was McMahon personally, but I can't say I don't not understand where the company is coming from. I know the company is just doing what the company needs to do. Like, all right, look, we can't associate with that just because. But I think they also know, like, all right, promoting it is not going to be in our best interest right now. Right. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to just say he never happened, he never existed. And unfortunately, because of the circumstances of what went down, his legacy was basically destroyed.
Yeah. Yep.
Unfortunately, but there's always eBay and there's Amazon. The DVD still exists, and if you really need the DVD, contact me, and I will make you a copy because that's what I do.
Yeah, there's a really cool store that's owned by Bud Carson up in Allentown, and he does a lot. Actually, a lot of footage that I have. He has all, any wrestler that you want. He has these compilation DVDs, and for me, it's great because they have, a lot of the older, all the old school guys. So that's how I got a lot of my study material.
Ah, okay.
I have a few of him. I have actually one of the best ones. I love it. Is it's all him versus Eddie Guerrero. That's all it is.
Just a whole disc of him versus Eddie Guerrero.
Yep. Whether it was in the early part of their careers, over in Japan, ECW, all that.
Oh, okay.
WCW. Mhm.
You are a true studier.
Absolutely. Well, actually, another good one is Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. That's another guy, man with 1,000 holds.
Yes, it is. I mean, I tend to believe that's been some of his best work. Malenko was a great match with his. Angle certainly was one of the better matches that he had later in his career.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Angle has produced a opponent as good. Maybe Joe.
My favorite. I do have a favorite Dean Malenko match. Believe it or not, it's him versus Nick Dinsmore when they were down at OVW. And
really?
Of course, him.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Most people now you have to explain for most people that are listening and only know Dinsmore through the WWE. You have to tell them who he is on WWE television.
Yeah, Eugene.
Yes. There you go. That is a prime example of what the WWE can and will do, depending. But in OVW, he was the man. He was Mr. Wrestling. He if you were going to come into that company, you had to go through Nick Dinsmore, which is a prime example of the difference between WWE and, I guess, territory/indie.
Yep. I mean, the good thing, like with him, it was funny, when they had him come out as Eugene at the beginning because, they had him, ripping off all kinds of all old school moves and and everyone was popping for him, and but then didn't do much with him. But with him, once he shaved the beard, cut the hair, looks totally different. They could have brought him back as Nick Dinsmore, and I think it would have been awesome.
Dropping the
ball.
I have to share this with you since you bring this up. See, I don't know how you got me just talking in general now, Cindy. You made me just run off something else entirely. But I have to share this with you now that you brought this up. My friend he had this storyline all in his head for Nick Dinsmore about that. Because I think he just hated the Eugene character. But he knew that, he's not going to get away from the Eugene character because he's over. He's just like I said, people were popping for him. But he just had this, he just needs to come back and cut the hair, shave, and just heel out and just tell everybody I fooled you all, and just link up with his uncle, do the old Eric Bischoff thing. Since Eric Bischoff was the recognized relative of Eugene on TV. But he so wanted him to drop that thing. He wanted him to get rid of the Eugene character, just and just because that was the only way he saw him being able to get out of it. Was just say that I just did it to get sympathy and have you people love me, but I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, classic heel turn.
There you go. That's right. And now, here's the question. What do you prefer? Heel or babyface?
For me personally, heel.
You personally?
Yeah.
You seem to be a fairly effective heel. And I'm not sure I have a lot of matches with you as a babyface.
Yeah, I just couldn't keep it up.
Really? You never? You don't think you could just keep going as a babyface?
That's more fun being a heel. You can.
I mean, bad. Well, let's look at it this way. Let's take it from this approach. Your inspiration was a great hero. He did it for years. So why do you feel like I don't want to say that you can't. I'm pretty sure you could. But why is it more fun for you not to be the good girl, so to speak?
I get to do what I want.
Oh, okay.
Win by any means necessary.
Well, that's true.
If you were to meet it with the Bret Hart aspect, just think of me as the Hart Foundation aspect. How's that?
Okay.
The heel. Is it
Foundation.
Yes, the heel foundation.
The heel foundation, yes. Which is an awesome thing.
Oh yeah.
one of the great factions in history that seems to be kind of lost amongst the others. Some people tend not to remember it.
I loved it. It was great. When I was growing up, of course, you loved the Hogans, you loved the, all the baby faces. Yeah, I loved Hogan, but I was right there with the heel team of the Hart Foundation.
Who didn't like Hogan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, who didn't like him? He was the reason that I started watching. The Hogan Andre angle is what got me watching regularly.
Yep.
As a kid, I couldn't. But I was like, it's impossible for him to beat Andre. No one could beat Andre.
Yep.
Of course, later I found out that plenty of people have beaten Andre, but but I didn't know that at the time.
I still remember the first time I saw him in person. Oh my God, huge.
Oh wow. Really?
Oh, well.
You had the opportunity to see Andre in person?
Yeah, just once. But yeah, like even like seeing Hogan in person, it's like, oh my God.
Yes, they are pretty gigantic fellas.
Yeah, and I remember I just, first time seeing Bret Hart in person. Actually, he was with the Hart Foundation when I saw him for the first time in person. Just being in awe of seeing them live.
You mean the original version of the Hart Foundation?
The original version, yep.
Okay. That's history lessons for you listeners out there.
Coming out with
That's
Jimmy
right.
Hart. Yep.
Jimmy Hart, the Mouth of the South, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and sometime associate Dangerous Danny Davis.
Yep. What was it?
That's a real history lesson for you. That's right. Hey.
Yeah.
Mr. Green knows his stuff sometimes.
But yeah, you can't forget Davis.
Yeah, that's right. The wrestling referee.
Yep.
Now I'm going to ask factions for you. Do you ever want to, lead a group?
Yeah, definitely. I'd have to say though, if I led a group, it would probably be more like a DX kind of a thing.
No, wait a minute. A DX kind of a thing. That goes against the whole scheme of things.
You gotta go back. To when they were, more of the heel DX. I'm having fun, playing pranks. To go.
So that's what you'd want to do.
Oh, absolutely. Just be a big old nuisance to the company, Not knowing what we were going to do next,
Oh, man. Now, I was for certain that you were going to be more along the lines of the foundation.
Oh, well, you can...
Owen and the Anvil and Pillman and Bulldog and Brett. I mean, that was great stuff. And you actually have gone to the opposition in terms of...
as far as the feud, but, yeah. No, I think, but, especially those who know me that, I'm definitely more of the, the joking around, having fun kind of thing. So, yeah, if I led a faction, it would be more like that. Of course, breaking all kinds of rules along the way, but,
If Cindy Rogers had her pick of the litter of people to join you, hard question now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you have a lot of people that you know, a lot of people that you would be talented enough to work with you. If you had your choice and you were able to go to a promoter and say, look, these are the 3 or 4 of the people I need with me, who would they be?
Let's see. Who would my fun faction be? Let's see. Absolutely, let's see. All right. We'll go with Mercedes Martinez, of course.
Okay.
Let's see. Beth Phoenix.
Okay.
My fun crew. Let's see. Sarah Del Rey.
All right.
And Amy Lee.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We'd be, a kick-ass fun group.
Fantastic combination. I mean, you sound like you're really getting a kick out of that, too.
And, well, of course, also my former, big unit partner, Alicia,
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
So how long will I give it before one of y'all turn on each other?
We'd last for a while. We'd last for a
while, okay. Nobody's going to heel out. No one's going to get jealous. No one's going to I should be the leader. Nothing like that.
Oh, heck no. No.
Oh, okay. Well, you never know now. You never know. These are the things that we look for in wrestling. Somebody has to become bitter and upset.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that we like.
Oh yeah, eventually, but it'd be just too fun going out there, being spontaneous, doing what we wanted to do.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. When is Cindy Rogers going to get to work in the Atlanta area? I ask that of everybody because, that is one thing that I've not had coming to the Atlanta area is an all-girl show.
Hey, man, you got to work on booking it. We'll be there. Have boots, we'll travel.
you go where it's necessary, huh?
Yep. See, you got to book it, man. You got to book it.
I got to book it.
There you go.
Cindy, don't make me work. Don't make me do it. Yeah, I've heard that already. It's like I need to book it. It's like, man, I just want to sit in the audience and watch the show, and I got to put the thing together.
Hey, get someone down there to book it, and then you can watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I got to find somebody with some deep pockets, and then make it happen. Just my own entertainment.
There you go.
All right.
You just talk to the owners over at WSU and just be like, hey, do a travel show, or Shimmer, because Shimmer, usually it's based out of Chicago, but we did wrestle down in Florida,
Oh, okay.
So.
Fair enough.
That's it, man. That's your homework. You got to get on it.
I will do that. I will make that happen some way or another. I'll find somebody that can make my dream come true.
There you go.
Any closing remarks from the definition of technician and the new era of excellence, Cindy Rogers?
Well, I just want to thank everybody who's supported me all these years, and and hopefully I can continue on for several more years and kicking ass, and who knows, I may get that faction one day,
That's right, and if it happens, they can tell them that they heard it here first. Cindy's Fun Faction, and I'm sure you'll come up with a different name by then. Was first created here.
On our way down to Atlanta.
That's right. Come on down here to Atlanta and destroy Peachtree Street.
Oh, you know it.
That's right. Bring back wrestling the way I used to have it.
Oh, yeah.
I know you was a WWF girl, but, I am in the era that was born of the NWA and WCW, so.
Mhm.
And it's just not here anymore.
No, unfortunately. I said bring back
So you got to help me out.
Mhm.
But I certainly want to thank you for joining me on the show tonight and sitting through my technical difficulties.
Thank you for having
live
me.
Yeah, that's live radio. What can I say?
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, man. I appreciate it.
I thank you. You've been great, and I leave the door open for you to come back in the future.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
You have a good night, Cindy. Thank you for coming on.
You can take care.
Bye-bye.